Morning glory and evening grace, America. Hugh in Studio West. Joined by Bret. He is host of Special Report. You can watch him on Fox News. I think he's America's most watched newsman. Bret, I got a question for you that is not newsy I want to begin with. I have a request, actually. You are a great interviewer. I take some pride in my interviews, Scott. Have you ever sat down with Jack Nicklaus?
I have, several times.
I watched him interviewed this morning. I normally won't go to watch anybody interview someone who's not a professional. He's amazing. What a storyteller. Did you have fun with those?
Oh, yeah, really fun. I had him on the show, and we talked about all kinds of stories. You know, I'm a Jack Nicklaus super fan, and I learned to play golf by Golf My Way, the VHS tape that he did based on his book. And long story short, Hugh, I sent him a letter after watching the documentary Jack, and he and his wife Barbara's support of children's health and about his career. And I wrote him a letter. A couple weeks later, he wrote me back and asked me to interview him at a charity event. And, you know, my entire golf career came up through Jack Nicklaus, so I knew every little fact. So it was really fun doing interviews with him.
I knew about the concession. Of course, I watched the Masters in '86 live. I didn't know about the yellow shirt being in honor of the young boy who died of the sarcoma. But what I learned today is the first time he went and hit balls at 35 cents a bucket at his club, and his dad got a bill for $380. I thought, oh, that's pretty damn funny. And, you know, that's not something an amateur normally will get out of people. Did you make it into a special for the Fox channel?
Yeah, we did a big interview segment. I also did something for PGA Reach, which is a charity event for kids and then for veterans. So, yeah, we've used it on air. He's a great storyteller. And, you know, I was at the '86 Masters.
Oh, I did not know that.
And I followed him from 15 on to 18.
Did you hear, was it Seve dropped it in the water and he knew that yeah. He told that story this morning. And, you know, there's some people are good at this and telling stories about golf games, and some people are bad. I'm a bad golfer, so I like hearing good golfers tell good golf stories. And I was really blown away today by him. Of course, he's an Ohio guy. And he's a Columbus guy, and Woody Hayes is part of his life, really part of his life. And so like Urban Meyer, I love talking to these people. In St. Barbara, I want to meet his wife, but I didn't know about the Nicklaus Children's Hospital in Miami. I had no idea until this morning. He raised $2.1 million at a dinner by auctioning off a round of golf. He said, we're going to play at, I don't know, what he made up some course name. He took 3 groups to Augusta. That would be a lot. He called it Lost Tree, and they bid $700,000 each. And I said, that's pretty good. And I like the guy. Let's get to the serious stuff now. I'm going to go find that interview on. It's got to be on YouTube, right? You talking?
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it to you.
So, the judge in D.C. I think this is a non-justiciable political question that you ought to dismiss and allow the circuit to decide whether they want to tangle with the president. What are your experts? Because you got Turley and you got McCarthy. 2 best guys in the game. I spent a year with a political question once, so I know my way around it. But this is an unprecedented case. There is absolutely nothing on the books remotely like this, never been invoked by declaration of the president before. What do you think as a very informed layman talking to the very best experts?
Yeah. You know, John Hugh was on our air. There have been others. Mark Levin has weighed in. And obviously you mentioned the other guys. I think there's 2 sides to it. One is the technical side, and that is this order, you know, to turn the planes around. It wasn't a written order. It was an oral order in court. The plane had already left. You know, it was all a timeline thing. And now they are submitting, you know, rebuttals about why it didn't happen. They didn't follow the order. I think on the broader sense, this is a separation of powers issue on this specific case, and I think that it continues to go up the chain, and I think that the administration feels like they have a pretty strong legal case when it comes to immigration specifically to deal with this.
I think they have good authority. I think there's a political risk here, not from the judge. The judge just keeps digging a hole, the first rule of holes. It's the question of what happens to these men. You know, when the Soviets beat the Wehrmacht, a lot of the German troops just disappeared into Russia and were never seen again. They sent a bunch of Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. So it's like sending Bloods to Crips land. Do you think there's any blowback there at all, Bret?
I think that's a great question, Hugh. I think the president of El Salvador has been very, very friendly and accommodating, and even kind of jesting that it already had happened even after the judge's orders. I think that the political fallback here is minuscule because most people look at this as trying to get bad people out of the country, and it seems common sense. And when Democrats talk about it, it's a lot about due process. But I heard Secretary Rubio the other day on Guy Benson's show say, listen, we know everybody on those planes was either criminal, illegal immigrant, or an illegal immigrant, some way, shape, or form, and they're going back out of the country.
Yeah, I'm not worried about I actually think they're fine on the law under a variety of statutes, and I spent a lot of time this weekend on it. And like I said, I know my way around PQ doctrine stuff, and I think I know what ought to happen. Andy McCarthy and I have had a very civilized disagreement. I don't mind the Chief Justice pushing back on impeachment. He runs Article 3. He's going to defend his guys and his gals. But I do worry about sending foreign nationals to an adversarial prison camp. It'll be interesting to see. Let's talk now about the war in Israel, the war with the Houthis. And what I sense, Bret, the president has set this up 1, 2, 3. And Khamenei is in a corner. And if he does not throw the doors open, I think the bombs are coming down. What do you think?
I agree. And I think the president has been really clear about that. His last Truth Social on this was essentially if the Houthis continue to act, that it is an extension of Iran, not just this offshoot Houthi rebel group, and thereby laying the groundwork for whatever comes next. I think his ultimate goal is to get to a negotiating table. I think he sees himself as the deal maker of deal makers, not only on Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Hamas, but I think that he thinks that Iran wants to get to the table or will be forced to, facing the prospect of an attack.
Now, when Senator Cotton was on the program yesterday, he thought the word had gone out to Khamenei. Now we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way, but we're going to do it one way or the other. And he does mean complete disarmament. And I think he means fairly quick. Like, I think the President Trump has put himself on a timeline and put Khamenei in a corner, and that we're going to have a resolution of this by the end of April. Now, some people think I'm being very aggressive there, but I don't, especially after Israel started the war again last night. And I don't think they had a choice because Hamas was playing them. But do you sense a tick down?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a very fast clock here, in part because Israel is emboldened. They took out a lot of Iranian air defenses the last time they went in, and Iran has been trying to rebuild, but it hasn't. So they're fairly naked when it comes to air defenses. And I think that they realize that this is the time. It's either now or never, and he's putting out the signals. It's either now or never.
And so to Netanyahu, and close this up, I know you got Ty over there. He's seen some pretty horrible scenes in Gaza last night. I'm sure they are. I'm sure there are innocent people in Gaza. But I don't know that the Israelis have a choice. Either they can't stay where they are. And I expect ground troops soon. I'm just wondering what your expectation is.
Yeah, I think that Netanyahu signaled that it's back on and that Hamas made a choice. They could have come forward with more hostages, dead and alive. They didn't. And so now they've opened up the response. And I agree with you. I think they're not going to stop now. And I think Hamas is going to realize how good that ceasefire really was.
And they should have taken the white flag and gone to Iran when they could. Bret Baier, always a pleasure. We'll be watching tonight at 6 p.m. on Special Report. America's most watched newsman is Bret Baier for a good reason. He knows how to ask good questions. And thank you, Bret.